Let me read you a more in-depth definition of nihilism. Is the philosophical viewpoint that suggests the denial or lack of belief towards meaningful aspects of life. Most commonly, nihilism is presented in the form of existential nihilism, which argues that life is without objective meaning, purpose, or really any sense of value. And so basically, what this is saying is that, there's really no right and wrong. And oftentimes, another definition of nihilism is the rejection of all religious and moral principles and the belief that life is meaningless. And you look at that and you're like, wow, that's kind of depressing. I mean, if you actually believe in nihilism, that means nothing really matters. There's no meaning behind anything you do. Everything you do is ultimately going nowhere. So I guess enjoy the time you have, maybe, if that's even what you want to do. But it's really depressing if you really stop and think about it. And there's a lot of movies that use this. In fact, I just want to read off a few notable films that are connected with nihilism. In 2000, American Psycho came out. 1964's Doctor Strangelove. 1971's A Clockwork Orange. 2007, No Country for Old Men. 1996, Fargo, which went on to go into a TV series. And also, the one that I'm most familiar with is actually 2007's There Will Be Blood, starring Daniel Day-Lewis. And if you watch that movie, it explores capitalism, the abuse behind the oil industry, the abuse of the Christian culture. And at the end of that movie, man, you leave the theater depressed. It really is a heavy film. Daniel Day-Lewis does a great job acting in that movie, but it really makes you think hard about why we do what we do and where does everything amount to, where does it all go. And at the end of the movie, Daniel Day-Lewis's character, there's not much to his life, even though he acquired everything he wanted. It means nothing. That's pretty much the end of the film. In horror movies, you'll see nihilism a lot. A couple of examples is Saw, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And sci-fi horror, you see it in Alien, Predator, where ultimately these movies convey that there is no meaning. What's interesting is if you look at it from a horror movie perspective, horror movies work really well with nihilism because in a world where everything is meaningless, you have no right and wrong when you're in the situation of not knowing what's going to happen, and horror works really well in that structure.